How did all of you guys in the band meet? Tell me how this story evolved.
Yeah. Well, I started this band, Steve Summers Band, back in 2010. I recruited a couple of guys locally in Reading. I was living in Henley-on-Thames at the time, and I got Scott Hunter on board. Scott was in Jethro Tull for a while. He was on their album Catfish Rising, and he phoned me up. I was advertising for a drummer, and he phoned me up, and one thing led to another. We got a power trio together, and that band went out touring around Europe and doing quite well, really. We did some great gigs across Europe and places like France and Germany and so on and so forth. And then Scott left the band for personal reasons. I got other people in, and then we reformed the band after lockdown. So during lockdown, I started working with Derek White. I think you probably know Derek White. He's a
Yes, I hear
Derek
have
White.
set all this up, hasn't he? And yeah,
Yeah,
I've worked with Derek before, and we've had meetings before and chats before. So
yeah.
yeah, he's a nice guy, Derek.
He's a great guy, and he plays with a lot of people. And Scott and I then got back together again because during lockdown we couldn't do any gigs, so we just kind of rehearsed when we could. We got a little prog band together, and I started doing some work with a singer called Mike Sebage and Vic Martin, who used to be with Gary Moore. It's been an old friend of mine for many years. We do sessions together many years ago. And we got a band called Re-End Affair together. During lockdown, we started doing like it's jazzy, bluesy type stuff. We couldn't play it live. It was too kind of, it was a studio thing really. And I got Derek involved in that afterwards. And then one thing led to another. Mike and I formed a band called Long Road Home. I don't know if you've heard of Long Road Home at all, Stephen. We were
I
doing
have heard the name. Yes, I have. I don't know a lot about it, but I have heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were doing a lot of gigs, a lot of festivals and things like that. The band was rising quite nicely actually, but unfortunately Mike became very ill and we had to fold that band. And so I decided to relaunch Steve Summers Band. I got Scott Hunter back involved. Derek was already involved, and we put together Steve Summers Band as it exists today about a year ago. We recorded an EP called
Mhm.
Talk Is Cheap. And then we decided to put out an album of the live set. The live set consisted of stuff I'd recorded before in the previous version of the band, an album called Looking Back, Moving On, an album called Rainmaker. And I remixed and remastered some of the tracks on there, and we produced the album Rewired, because that is really the basis of our live set. So it's primarily an originals band. We do a couple of covers when we need to, or when people want to hear them. But in general, it's mainly my music written by me. And that album, Scott is on nearly every track actually, because he was playing on the first two albums anyway.
Mhm.
But Derek and Simon, who are the keyboard player and bass player respectively in the band now, are on just the EP tracks, the brand new recorded tracks, which I recorded just before Christmas, basically.
You've kind of gone full circle, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a bit of
Yeah.
a retrospective, this album, in a way. Yeah, I mean, what we originally wanted to do it just to sell at gigs. We thought, let's just do it because people want to buy something. The two previous albums, although they're both available on the streaming platforms, are not available as pieces of, CDs anymore. Rather than print those up, I thought, well, let me go back, revisit them, I remix them, I remaster them, and we'll produce a new album just for sale at gigs. And the guys at the band said, hey, it's a damn good album. Why don't we just put it out there? So we put it on Bandcamp. And then we put it on the streaming platforms. And so then here we are. We've got a new album, but it's kind of a retrospective. But includes new material. It's a reflection of the live set we have today.
Yeah, I listened to it when when it was sent to me on download. I got the sense of, at least on two or three tracks, it was like a mid-70s vibe to it.
Mm.
Would you agree with that? Was that something that you wanted the album to sound like?
Not really, but I know what you mean.
Right.
That's a very fair comment. I mean, I'm kind of stuck in that era, to be honest. Yeah,
Ditto, ditto. Yeah,
that's my era. That's the stuff I
yeah,
still like mainly, and I can't help writing like that, really. All those guitarists from that era in the '60s, Hendrix, Clapton, Blackmore, those are my guys.
yeah. I think we've had the same upbringing music-wise, but it just gave me
Yeah,
that feel. I mean, I
yeah,
was, getting into music, proper music, as I would call it, probably 72, 73 when I was,
yeah,
13, 14,
yeah,
and I heard Led Zeppelin 2 for the first time, and here I am. That just but, the Deep Purples and,
yeah.
and the Cream and Free and, Fleetwood Mac and Frampton, but I did get a distinct feeling that it a couple of the tracks did take me back to s early and mid-70s type of stuff. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but it made me
No,
really happy.
no,
That
and not Not at all, Stephen. I mean, it's a fair comment. I kind of I've been through I've been I've been a pretty long musical career, and I've done lots of stuff in my time, played loads of music. I wanted to form a band like that because I wanted to play that kind of music, which I've always loved, and it's been
Yeah.
my stuff that turned me on in the first place. And I thought, look, I'm going to do this stuff. I'm going to get a power trio together. I'm going to play Hendrix, Cream type stuff because that's what I love and that's what I want to do. And so, really, yeah, you've spotted it. I'm afraid, it's the fair cop, Gov.
Well, no, well, actually, it just made me very happy because I think, like you said, I think we've got a very, very similar musical background,
Sounds like it,
and it
yeah.
took me back to that. An easy type of, some things now are too overdubbed and too overproduced. Then, sure, you would know as a musician, it was just like fly by the seat of your pants.
Absolutely. Two or three takes for the solos, no more than that. No cutting in and out, no auto tune, nothing like that. That's how we recorded it. All the albums have been recorded more or less live. I've redone the vocals a bit, because it's in the studio, you don't get any separation. But in general, the band was in the studio playing most of those tracks live, with one or two exceptions. There's been a few overdubs as well, but in general, the band has always been playing a live situation.
Yeah, you keep it to a minimum, don't you?
I mean, Led Zeppelin 2, that's really probably my favorite album of all time in that genre, really. It's just a masterpiece, I think.
Yeah, I think, if people say to me, "How did you get in this business?" I'll go, "The Led Zeppelin 2." It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Depending on what mood I'm in, I will decide which is
yeah.
my favourite Zeppelin album. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 1, but I heard Zeppelin 2 before I heard any other Zeppelin album.
That was the
Then
one
you
that
go like Physical Graffiti, and you can't. It's no use. It's no use saying that's the best one because tomorrow I might want something different. But do you and the guys in the band all have similar influences, or do you
say
something
that. No,
different?
no, not really. I mean, sometimes, Scott Hunter and I do, definitely, and Derek, we're all a bit proggy as well. We're all, the other kind of bands from that era, we like them too. And so we all like the prog side of it. So Simon keeps dragging us back. He likes blues, and he'd probably like it more Chicago blues than 70s post blues boom music, which
Yeah,
which is what I consider Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and those bands to be. They're all Jethro Tull, even really. Their first three albums were blues albums, really.
yeah.
After that, they became a prog band, but their album "Stand Up" is still one of my favorite albums too. And Deep Purple in rock, I love that album.
Mm.
So no, we've got similar. The three of us do. Simon's a bit different, but it's good. It keeps us on the straight and narrow. It's good because we bring other influences in to do other tracks. Like we're doing a cover right now of a Government Mule song, which we're going to put into the set, I think, which is a really good one, a really nice one that sort of fits in. And that's Simon. He's been obsessed with doing it. We've been saying, we're not doing it, and for God's sake, it needs a certain type of vocal for that one. And I can handle the guitar parts, but the vocal is a bit different. So so we do have we kind of we muck around a bit, but the guys all trust me. I write all the stuff, and they
I was
love.
going to say, yeah, that was my sort of next leading question. You are the main songwriter. Does that
Yeah,
put extra pressure on you, or is it something you just take in your stride?
like it really, Stephen, because I sing in a certain way. I mean, I was in Long Road Home. I used to write all the stuff, and then Mike Sebbage would put the vocal parts on top and the lyrics and everything like that. And so, since that band broke up, I've just gone back to writing all of it. And it's better for me to write stuff for my voice because I know how I sing. So yeah, the answer is yes. It's better for me like that, and I like it like that. But having said that, I've also written with Simon, and I've also written with Scott, and I've also written with Vic Martin as well, who's the keyboard player that I used to play with. I mentioned before he was with Gary Moore, and
Yeah.
we played together for years. He and I in various bands over the years.
Well, he's going to be no slouch, is he, if he's played with Gary Moore?
He's a brilliant musician. He's an absolutely total class act. He really is very, very good indeed. And I'm honoured that he's always brings me in to play guitar because he's played me the best. Right, Gary Moore's about as good as it gets.
There isn't many more, or there aren't many better than Gary Moore.
No,
I don't think I'm one of these people like you can't say who's the absolute best. It's
no,
you could. There's a certain few people that can sit at the top table.
exactly, and he's one of them.
Absolutely, he's
He
one of them.
definitely is. Yeah.
Now, we talked about the covers, and
Mm.
there's two on the album, and the
Mm.
first one was Third Degree, written by
Yeah.
Eddie Floyd and Willie Dixon. And
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that for years and
I
years and
know.
years. and what it was just like, wow, but it's that has that been a favourite of the band or a favourite of yours? But I'm thinking you've got to have some balls to be doing stuff like this.
I
But you
know.
pulled it off, and you did a great version.
Thank
You
you
know,
so much. Thank you.
so has that been? Are they two people that really influenced you, or where did the idea come from to
Well,
record that?
I've always loved the version, the Corky Lang, Jack Bruce and Leslie West version. I love Leslie West playing anyway. He's just so much muscle in his playing, his
Mm.
vibrato and everything, this tone of his guitar, that Les Paul Jr. I've always loved that. And it's Derek. Derek said, "Why don't we do that?" And I said, "We can't. That's stepping on holy ground, man. You can't do that one." And he said, "Well, let's give it a go." He said, "I think we can do it." And we just threw it around, Stephen, for quite a while. And then, yeah, all right, let's record it. Let's give it a go. I mean, the lyrics are a bit dodgy. I think they're a little bit dubious at times. But as long as it's tongue in cheek, which is how I see it, it's a bit like, Hoochie Coochie Man. I mean, that's the song that's tongue in cheek. He's not really saying he's the greatest lover in the world in Hoochie.
No, it's just how songs are written. Then
Exactly.
it's very tongue in cheek. If you take it too seriously, there's
Yeah.
something wrong.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. No, it's a fabulous song. I love it. I love playing it live. It's just great. And we were playing it live, and we just said, "Well, let's damn well record it," And so, thank you. I'm so glad you like it, because I think we've done a good job. We've made a good fist of it, you might say.
Yeah, I really did think you made a good fist of it, and like I say, you hear so many things and then you think, I really haven't heard this for years and years and years. Yeah, I'm thinking, ooh, when I saw it on the download, I thought, ooh, these guys have got to be good, they've got to hit the mark here. And you
Yeah.
did. And I'm
Thank
not
you.
just saying that.
I
I'm
really
putting
appreciate
a
that.
like rendition. These are,
Yeah.
Willie Dixon, he's one of the greatest
Yeah.
artists, but writer, singer, songwriter,
Yeah.
bass player,
Yeah.
everything. He could do everything. He was Mr. Chess Records, wasn't
He
he? Really?
was, absolutely. He was indeed. And yeah, and Eddie Boy didn't write too much, but that's a great song the two of them put together there. And
Yeah.
we based it on the West Bruce and Lang version. We do it differently, and I've got some horns on there and things as well, which I thought really enhanced it, But yeah, it's just a great piece to play live. It's just so in your face. And Jack Bruce's vocal was completely over the top. I didn't try to emulate that. I just sing it my way.
Yeah, when it's a vocal thing, you can't try and do it like other people have done
No,
it.
it's got to
'Cause
be
yeah,
authentic.
you've got to put your own stamp on it. You're not going to match. Well, not match, but it's not going to sound the same as if you try and sound like Jack Bruce.
Yeah,
You're not going to, are you?
forget it. No, no chance. Absolutely no chance.
So you've got to put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it works. And then obviously the next one is A New Day Yesterday, and you're on about
Mm.
Jethro Tull and and Ian Anderson. And I made when I was listening to it, I was making notes, and I thought this is another one I haven't heard for years, and I didn't actually it's the flute or anything like that. I thought, no, this is fine without Ian Anderson standing on one leg and not
Yeah.
playing the flute.
It's just a great riff, it's a doom laden, almost like a death metal riff, it's
Yeah,
those semitones, it's like really in your face. And we're just playing around with it, and we've made it in a bit of I think there's some prog influences coming out there. I mean, obviously we all love Tull anyway, and I mentioned, and Scott played with Jethro Tull,
yeah,
and so he used to play it with them when he played with them, mucking around, like rehearsing for the recordings he did with them. And we felt, again, that's another one that's kind of holy ground to do it, and Joe Bonamassa did a good version of it. So
yeah. He did. Yeah,
we wanted to do it a bit differently, and come at it from a different perspective. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. The intro is little bit inspired by Genesis and Focus, because Scott is really into Genesis and bands like that as well. So we said, let's try something there, a bit of volume control guitar and things.
yeah,
So it became a bit of an epic in live. It just goes down so well, because people go, when we play it, they'll go, my God, that's it's that Jethro Tull song.
yeah,
So nobody else does that. So it's just a nice one to pop in there amongst the originals, put that in, and Third Degree. They're the only covers we really do now. We do them every time.
yeah.
And we're sticking a few others now and again, but those ones are really absolutely part of the set.
Well, good. But your own stuff is good enough to just do a live set anyway.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Yeah.
you know, I've not been lucky enough to see you live yet. Hopefully, I will do in the near future. But if you just did a set with your own numbers, I don't think anybody would question that. I don't think anybody would say, "Oh, we haven't heard A New Day Yesterday," and come out
Mm.
disappointed. because your
Yeah.
own stuff stacks up anyway.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, honestly, I thought it was great, and like I said, this is your 3rd album, isn't it? That you've
Yeah, it's third album of Steve Summers Band, yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's but we're gonna get work on a new album. I've just, moved to a new house in the Cotswolds and, just put in a studio
Lovely.
in the garden, so I'm gonna start working on a new album.
All right, and so it's
Yeah.
that probably next year's project, or
Yeah, it's gonna take a while to get it going, so I've got to build it first, but I've got the songs that all going around in my head. I've started working on the songs. So, yeah, and that's gonna be probably all originals, I think, this time.
that's purely a Steve Summers Band album.
Yeah, that's my band now. That's what I
Yeah.
do. We're really going full steam ahead with this, and no diversions into any other projects. This is what we're all doing, and so I'm very very keen to kind of push it and get the band into a stronger position in the marketplace.
Well, whatever we can do to help, yeah.
You.
Would a live album be in the offing?
Yeah, that
Purely
would be.
live.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, the thing is that you've got to. You got to do a really good recording job to get it live, get all the tracks separated because you got to mix it properly and everything like that. But it's a lovely idea. That yeah, I'd love to do it. I think it would be yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah, it's a good suggestion. I'll take it back to the band, see what they think. They probably want to go back in and redo their parts if I know them because they want to get it perfect.
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
band though. It sounds really good. I just recorded. We had a rehearsal yesterday and I recorded it on my mobile phone. It sounded damn good. Working on some new material.
Well, I mean, yeah, to me, with live albums, you don't want them to be perfect. I
No,
don't want a perfect live album.
no.
That's the essence of a live album.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. There's always the story about, Thin Lizzy who went back in and completely
Yeah,
re-recorded
yeah.
Live and Dangerous.
And Dangerous, yeah, I have heard that story, and I don't know how much of it is actually live,
I
which
think
is just, when you play it, it's one of the greatest live albums of all
it
time.
is great. It's great,
Is
yeah.
isn't it?
It's fantastic, yeah. It's a brilliant live album. Mind you, there's Made in Japan, and they've never touched that. I mean, I've spoken to people who have been involved with Deep Purple at the time, and they didn't touch one note of it. It's completely live.
Yeah.
That is extraordinary, really. That's an incredible live album, I think.
Yeah, not messing about with it, it's I do know these stories about Live and Dangerous, and I'm thinking, I don't want to know really. I don't want to
No.
know, just let me live in the moment of it's
Yeah,
a great live album. I
yeah.
saw him on the tour in '79, the one after that, when,
Mm.
Brian Robertson had left and Gary Moore had come in.
Oh dear, that was a band.
Oh, yeah, it
When
was.
he joined, that was great.
Yeah, yeah, I saw him at Trentham Gardens in Stoke-on-Trent, and, that was a hell of a band, wasn't it? Yeah.
Because Scott Gorham really picked his game up to play with Gary Moore. Because
Yeah.
when you had a guy like that in the band, you really better get your chops together. And, that album, Black Rose, for me, that's a real highlight of Thin Lizzy's career. That was a masterpiece. Brilliant album.
I think that the 3 studio ones that stand out for me are obviously Jailbreak,
Yeah.
Black Rose, and I did love Johnny the Fox.
Fox, yeah. It's a good
Yeah,
album. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's another band I really love, Thin Lizzy, definitely, yeah, yeah.
yeah, they were the
Gary
ones.
Moore in particular, he's been a big influence on me as a guitarist.
Yeah,
There's a track on there called "Looking Back, Moving On," which is very Gary Moore influenced. If
yeah.
you listen to that, you can hear quite a few of his licks in there.
Well, absolutely, yeah. So, apart from the new album and the offing for next year, what
Mm.
else is on the radar for Steve Summers Band? Tours or anything like that?
Yeah, doing more tours, definitely. Want to get back out to Europe. It's been so difficult after Brexit to tour Europe.
I know.
We want to do much more of that because it's so much more fun over there. The audiences are so grateful for you going over. They love English bands going over, and American bands particularly, of course.
Mm.
But you can get some really great audiences over there, and they really pack the places out, and they're very grateful. If you're going over, as I say, but also more over here. We've got a few decent gigs coming up. We're doing the Dereham Blues Festival, and we're doing the Tropic in Ruislip. That I don't know whereabouts are you based, Stephen?
Contrent, right in the
Queensland.
Midlands. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're sort of
yeah.
stuck in between Birmingham and Manchester.
Right. Oh, well, we play Birmingham sometimes, but yeah, we're in the process of finalising the gigs for the year. Actually, coming up, we'll probably be touring later in the year, so we could well be up your way.
Well, if not, we can always travel. I don't mind coming down and doing a gig review and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I do this full time. I spend half my life on a train. So, oh yeah, yeah, go, yeah. I was lucky enough to be at the Albert Hall the other week for Bonamassa.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Eric went there. He's very good. Apparently, was he good?
He was exceptionally good.
Yeah.
I mean, I first saw him in 2007 when there was
Right.
like 60 people and nobody knew who he was.
Really?
Remember,
Wow.
I'd been listening to Paul Jones on,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
so he played him, and Paul Long was his producer, and Paul
Mm.
knew about him, so they brought him over really. But he was good at the Royal Albert Hall. He's top draw.
He's the real deal. Yeah. He's great. If he was back in the 70s, he'd be up there. He wouldn't be diminished by the other guys around. He'd still be a big star, I think. He
I
really
think he would. Yeah, he'd hold his own, wouldn't he?
he would hold his own, definitely. He deserves a place at top table as well, really. I mean, he's a very, very good guitarist.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, he does. You know,
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, he's just a one trick pony."
He's
I
not.
mean, you're listening to the
No.
wrong stuff. Then
He's a fine guitarist and a fine singer, and he's keeping the flame going. You know, he's going to be the new Eric Clapton, I think, in terms of his audience.
I
He'll,
think so. I think
he'll
that's where
start
he's
putting.
yeah. So, so if you could sort of pinpoint one person that meant the most to you musically growing up,
Mm.
who would you pick? I know it's
If
a
I had to pick,
difficult one.
if I had to pick one, would that be very difficult? Because I'd need to pick 10, really. But
Yeah,
I really had to pick one.
well,
It would,
2 or 3 then.
Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, and Mike Bloomfield.
Very good choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those three guys.
I'm glad you mentioned Beck and Bloomfield.
Yeah. Mike
Yeah,
Bloomfield. I mean, in fact, somebody the other day, a good friend of mine said, you really do play like Mike Bloomfield. And I said, really? He said, yeah, probably you don't even notice it. It's probably subtle because I was very, very young then, obviously, but he
yeah,
really got me into, I mean, it's not the Butterfield Band, but the Electric Flag. I remember that they
mm,
did virtually Killing Floor on there by another Willie Dixon song.
yeah,
And I thought, I just loved it. I just played that over and over, and that really got me into playing guitar. And the way he phrases on that is really great. I mean, there's always a bit of an argument I find between blues aficionados and who's the best white blues guitarist from the 60s. Is it Mike Bloomfield or is it Peter Green? And that's a real tough one. But my guy was always Bloomfield. Although I
yeah.
love Peter Green, yeah, of course I love Peter Green. He's a fantastic guitarist. But Bloomfield for me was his friend. Listen to Super Session. I heard it the other day for the first time in years. Well, bloody hell, that's good.
Yeah, he was exceptionally good. But
Yeah.
so was Peter Green, and I interviewed Alvin Bishop once, and I was talking about Bloomfield to Alvin Bishop, and he was just like, the guy was just off the scale, man. You know,
Yeah.
and when you talk to people like him
Yeah.
about Mike Bloomfield, and
Yeah.
how in awe of him they were, and
No.
Peter Green. Yeah, I remember John Mayall saying when Clapton left, "Well, we've got somebody better than Clapton."
Mm.
Well, it's Peter Green. I'm not going on. I'm not choosing that one, but
No.
he got a very good replacement, didn't he?
He did. You got to admire Eric Clapton. I mean, he's got
Oh
himself
God, yeah, I'm a
global
huge
superstar
Clapton,
position. He's a
huge
damn good
Clapton fan.
guitarist. I mean, his playing in Cream was, like, really without peer at the time. Even Hendrix admitted that he was without peer. But I do think he's not quite managed to maintain that level. But he's a great guitar player. But Peter Green, he really touches me the way he plays.
Yeah, it's that
Feels
sound,
great.
isn't it?
But Jeff Beck as well. I mean, he's such an exciting and original guitarist, and he's constantly been improving. Whereas most of these guys have rested on their laurels and never really got any better than when they're in
Mm.
their 20s. He just got better and better and better all the time. At the end, it was like still astonishing.
Uh, For me, I think he's weirdly underrated
He is a
with
bit.
people.
You know what?
He
You're
is,
right.
isn't he?
He is a bit underrated, yeah. But he's actually the governor, really. I mean, of all the British guitarists, he's the man for me.
Yeah, but I mean, well, they're all of a similar age: Clapton, Beck, Page, Peter Green. And they're all from very, very close proximity to one another,
They are, yeah.
aren't they?
Well, so I come from that part of the world too.
Well, there you go.
I
That, well,
come
that,
from
yeah,
I come
that,
from Kingston. They're all a couple of generations above me. But yeah, I mean that's right. I mean, you think, my God, Peter Green used to live in New Malden. That's where I was born. You know, it's incredible.
well, you were within not a million miles away from where all these guys came from.
Exactly. And Clapton used to do all these gigs in Kingston as well, which I ended up doing later on as well when I first starting out. The Greyhawks and the Robert Peel pubs like that. I mean,
Yeah,
Clapton used to play those before he was in Cream, and before he was in John Mayall, when he was in a band called the Fire Brigade or something, or
yeah,
Quincy Jones and the Firemen or something. And yeah, so it's a good part of the world to come from. And Beck came from Wallingford, which is quite near where I used to live. He came from Ewell. Yeah, I mean it's weird, but those three, the great triumph who came from the Yardbirds, all born in that kind of quite small area around sort of South London.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something in the water down there, man.
Yes, it's very hard water actually. It's perhaps that's what it is. I don't know.
Well, there's a title here, Hard Water for the Hard Blues.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could write a
Okay.
song about that.
But you know, I feel blessed to come from that part of the world because there's still a load of great musicians coming from there even now.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad, and we need new musicians, up and coming musicians, don't we?
Yeah. Do you know the Connolly Hayes band? Do you know that?
Yeah,
Frankie Connolly is a fine guitar player. He's only in his 20s. Great guy, great
yeah.
guitarist. Yeah.
There are quite a lot of young, good guitarists and young, good blues singers out there.
There are. I know. Thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank goodness. You know, when we're gone, they'll
Mm.
still be doing it.
Well, the audience is still mainly our generation, but there's a few young people coming through. You know, it's good to see younger people going to the gigs now.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was at a documentary screening in London a few weeks ago with Connor Selby. And,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
another very gifted young musician.
He is brilliant. Yeah, it's really good.
There's a lot more to Connor Selby than a lot of people know.
Yeah. No, I think he's good. Talented guy.
Yeah, I've just seen today he's opening up for Cab Mo in Europe on a few of his dates.
Yeah.
So, you know, so he's got to be up to snuff, hasn't he?
He's going to be getting to the right audience with Kev Met in
Yeah, I'm going to see Cab in London June the 10th.
right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Mm.
Anyway, Stephen, thank you ever so much for chatting to me on a
Yeah.
sweaty Friday afternoon. I'm glad we got there in the end. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. I
Cheers,
think
Steve.
the album is
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep me informed of gigs,
I
stuff like
will. You
that.
bet your life.
And I'll come down. We'll say hello.
That'd be great. It'd be great to meet you and have a beer. Be really good.
Absolutely. We'll have 2 beers.
All right,
Uh,
Stephen.
yeah. All right. Thank you ever so much. Thank you,
Enjoy the long
Steve.
weekend. All the
Yeah.
very
And
best to
you.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.